Welcome into Bengals Breakdown. I am your host, Jack Sperry, filling in for Tom Downey. On today's show, I'm going to be breaking down a Bleacher Report article that claims that Orlando Brown Jr. is the most dangerous addition that the Cincinnati Bengals made this offseason. So I definitely think that this signing solidifies the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. We know that the offensive line and pass protection in particular has been an issue for Cincy over the last couple of years with Jonah Williams over there at left tackle. And Orlando Brown Jr. coming in here, I just really think it's going to be great for Joe Burrow to have a clean backside there. The blind side is just going to be fantastic for Joe Burrow. He's already one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, and having a clean blind side is only going to make him better. Over the last 2 seasons, he has been the most sacked quarterback in the National Football League, and that includes guys like Justin Fields, who have inarguably the worst offensive line in the National Football League. So Burrow likes to explain some of these sacks away, saying, it's third down, whatever it may be. It doesn't really matter if you get sacked. And, there is some credence to that, but I definitely think that some of the onus goes on the offensive line, in particular the pass protection, and especially Jonah Williams this past year, who gave up 12 sacks, which was the most in the National Football League. Now you transition to Orlando Brown Jr., who was arguably the best left tackle free agent in the market this year during the offseason. You end up landing him a 75.8 overall PFF grade last year. And then the big one there is the pass blocking grade at 77.2. Should definitely help Joe Burrow out, getting him on the ground less often. And then the run blocking grade's not exactly great, 69.1, but it's far from terrible. And it's definitely going to be serviceable, given that the Cincinnati Bengals like to pass the ball a lot more than they run the football. 6 penalties and only 4 sacks allowed for Orlando Brown Jr. last year. Much improved from Jonah Williams a season ago. And so coming up, I'm going to be telling you how Orlando Brown Jr. is going to be affecting the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. But first, Brown received some advice from a Cincinnati Bengals legendary offensive tackle Anthony Munoz, who had this to say about Orlando Brown Jr. When you talk about that, what does it boil down to? Attitude. And regardless of what position you're in, you got to face the block. You got to finish it however you can. In your pass sets, don't just get out of your stance. Do what you do in full speed, but you're not hitting anybody. Not that you have to blow everything out in a walkthrough, but you can get better in a walkthrough. So that was my whole mindset. So, of course, Anthony Munoz, legendary left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. This guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what it takes to become a Cincinnati Bengals legend. Hopefully, Orlando Brown Jr. can come in and have the same level of success. Spam 78, Anthony Munoz's number, down in the comment section. All I want to see is the number 78 when I check those comments later today. So now let's get into how Orlando Brown Jr. affects the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals moving into 2023. So you plug him in there at left tackle. Jonah Williams going to be moving over to right tackle. Hopefully he doesn't perform as poorly on the right side in pass protection as he did on the left side last year. Of course, you got Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, and Alex Cappa rounding out the rest of this offensive line. And this is much improved from last season, in my opinion. Very excited to see what this unit looks like heading into 2023 to protect Joe Burrow. And Jonah Williams, man, he needs to be better. Okay, they're moving him over to right tackle. They are trusting him to play this year. They did not get out. They replaced him at left tackle with Orlando Brown Jr., but they didn't go out and get another right tackle, and that's because they trust him to play on the right side. I'm not sure if I trust him personally. 12 sacks allowed last year. That is just insane. And, after he was replaced at left tackle, he still wants to play left tackle, right? So he ended up requesting a trade, and just to show you how terrible 12 sacks per season giving up on a season is, nobody was willing to give up anything for Jonah Williams. Nothing. Nada. And, I think that Jonah Williams is really going to have to prove this season that he can be a starter in the National Football League, or this could be his last year as a starter in this league. Of course, you might be saying, what about La'el Collins? Of course, Collins ended up having a really terrible knee injury in January last year. And, he's been talking like he might be coming back to play this year, all this different stuff. But, man, it's definitely sounding like that injury is a lot more serious than he is that he is laying on. He did something that's called the triple threat. He tore his ACL, his PCL, and then there's one more, and his MCL. That's right. And I mean, the fastest recovery from just an ACL tear was Adrian Peterson with the Vikings almost a decade ago, right? And that was just the ACL. There's no way La'el Collins, after getting that triple threat injury, is going to be able to come back in just less than a year. There's no way. I just don't think Collins is going to be on the field this year. He can say whatever he wants. The Bengals can say whatever they want. I think Jonah Williams is probably going to be that guy at right tackle this year. But there's always the chance that second-round player from last year, Jackson Carman, out of the University of Clemson, could surprise us this year. Maybe he outperforms Jonah in camp over the OTA period, over training camp, and he ends up taking that right tackle spot. Of course, you got Cody Ford as well. He's definitely been a bust to this point in his career, but he was a first-round guy for a reason. Very athletic tackle, Cody Ford is, but he just hasn't been able to get the technique down transitioning to the National Football League. So I think Collins is out. You got Jackson Carman that could potentially beat out Jonah Williams for the right tackle spot. But no matter what, we know Orlando Brown Jr. is going to be that left tackle, which is definitely comforting for Bengals fans everywhere. So how are you feeling about the offensive line for your Cincinnati Bengals? What is your confidence level? Give it to me right now on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments section. Now let's look at some playoff odds for the Cincinnati Bengals, where they are right now. I would say that they got to be one of the most likely teams to make the playoffs, right? They got one of the most explosive offenses in the National Football League with Joe Burrow, with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, with Tyler Boyd, with Joe Mixon. This is undeniably one of the best offenses in the National Football League. However, they do have the 12th hardest schedule in the NFL for the 2023 season. And, that comes with the territory of being a first-place team. If you're going to be getting up there in the standings, you are going to be playing higher-level competition. But despite that tough schedule, right now the Bengals are fourth in terms of overall odds to make the playoffs. They're only behind the Chiefs, 49ers, and Eagles. And personally, I think any one of these teams could be number one. I think all these teams are pretty much locks to make the playoffs, especially the Bengals with Joe Burrow at the helm. And, the other thing to keep in mind here that might derail the Bengals season, I don't think it will, but, something to keep in mind is that the AFC North could be absolutely loaded in 2023. Of course, Lamar Jackson is coming back fully healthy. Now with guys like OBJ, Zay Flowers, of course, Rashad Bateman's coming back healthy. You still have Mark Andrews there. Ravens could be real good. Deshaun Watson getting a full year, full offseason with his guys in Cleveland. He might get back to some superstar level play next season. And then, of course, the Steelers, they got a ravenous defense over there in Pittsburgh with TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and the like. And then if Kenny Pickett's any good, they're going to be a competitor as well in this division. So it looks like this could be one of the most competitive divisions in the National Football League next season. And really, I think it's really going to come down to quarterback play. And if it's going to come down to quarterback play, I like the Bengals' chances with Joe Burrow. So will the Bengals win the AFC North this season? Let me know in the comment section. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Sorry about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. That's going to be it for me today, Bengals fans. I really appreciate you. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you always get notified when we put out our free videos here on YouTube.